Can I call the meeting to order, please? So well. All right, welcome to everybody. Thank you for coming tonight, those online and those in the room. We're gonna call this meeting starting at 6:31. 6:31. Now, are there any amendments to the agenda? I have a couple amendments. One is that we, on our agenda, we can eliminate time schedule appointments A and B because we actually did that in August. And, so do we need to vote on that? I guess we do. Well, actually, we'll motion to adopt it at the end. And also there's a probability of a vote on appointments to the regional hub building, build working group tonight. So I'm just going to change that. Will come up during the time of the, working group, time. So is there a motion to amend the agenda as proposed?
One question,
Yes,
did we add that letter that we wanna look at?
I don't think we need to vote on it, though. But, all right, we'll add one more.
Well, I'm just
As
wondering-
Terry said, be
We don't need
better
to vote
to
on
err on the side of caution.
We should vote on
Okay, we'll be voting on that. So there's a letter that you received late this afternoon. And will be discussed again during the working group time. To speak to decoupling finances at the buildings, from the buildings, budget. So that will be another potential vote. Is there an amendment to, make this, amended agenda to pass?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, John. Second. Gina, thank you. All in favor of amending the agenda as proposed, please, indicate yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, very well. All right, at this time, I'm gonna open it up for public comment. If there's anybody from the public who would like to speak, you have a 2-minute time limit. And, just make your hand known on Zoom or in the room. Okay, so no public comment, thank you. Then we will go into the reports, starting with the superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'm going to be brief because we have a major presentation to come up that we're excited to share as a leadership team. Just wanted to recognize on the 21st, Jen Settle and I met with our new faculty to review our curricular graduate and strategic plan. Really impressive groups from all over the world. Great representation, a lot of different perspectives. They're excited about this team. The next day on the 22nd, we brought the entire faculty and staff to the auditorium. Not the most beautiful of places, but we did have an amazing celebration with a couple of ovations, standing ovations for the amount of student outcomes, as well as the middle school receiving of national recognition. One new piece of work that we brought on this beginning of the school year is Raina and I are beginning what we're calling the MVSU Life Learning Series. So bringing topics that are really important beyond the school day to our faculty and staff and bringing in speakers. Our first round of meetings will be on caring for aging parents. We've had some really good response. We hope once we have a schedule, we'll be working with Carla Camel, who's our community care coordinator. Once we have dates and times, we'll open it up on a listserv and hopefully bring in other members of the community on these topics and others. So another opportunity to bring more people into our district and to recognize the needs of our faculty and staff that are, be it more than serving our students and community.
Thank you, Sherry. Any questions or comments for Sherry? All right, I'll invite any of the directors who would like to speak to their reports you're welcome to do that, but if you don't wish to do that, that's fine too. Anybody out there?
I'll share.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Jen.
So you'll hear from me about the annually recognition from the middle school in a minute. That's a large part of my report, but I did want to speak to one aspect, which is the Holocaust and human rights curriculum work that happened this summer. So that's the third piece within my report. So to make you all aware, we had teachers travel to Europe with the Keene Center for Holocaust Studies, the Cohen Institute is what it's called, to learn about the Holocaust and human rights during World War II, to bring those experiences back to our students. And so this summer, we spent time building a curriculum that we felt represented their experience while they were in Europe, and also would allow our students to access a wonderful pathway of learning about the Holocaust and human rights. And so within the packet, I describe what that looks like, and it is an independent studies pathway, similar to the craft pathway. We hope to be able to pilot it this spring, though we still have many logistics to work out. But the idea of the pathway is that throughout their time taking required coursework through social studies and English, they learn about the baseline information related to the Holocaust, and if they want to take a deeper dive, they can. And so we have 2 independent studies that we've developed, and we're hoping to make this come to life this spring. So I just wanted to share that work with all of you.
I just wanted to comment that Jen invited me to take a look at the pathway towards the end of the summer, and it was terrific, and because of the continuity that we had presentations here at the committee here about Holocaust and what was needed. So I thought it was terrific. It was really great.
Thank you.
It really is an impressive body of work, and the collections of courses and the ability to explore really difficult topics in a very creative way through self-discovery is just an exciting opportunity to offer our students and faculty as well. So thank you, and thank you, your team.
Yes, I was gonna say, yeah, thanks to the teachers, they did some great work. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else have a comment or a question for Jen? Jen, I just wanted to say that as a curriculum director, it must have been a very fulfilling experience working on that curriculum. I read it this afternoon, reviewed it again, and it just looks like a really interesting and exciting way to learn. But especially for those students who enjoy the independent strands. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
And to those teachers as well.
thank you. The craft pathway was definitely the inspiration for that, and I can see many more happening over time.
Great. Anybody else? Any other directors? All right, then. Lila, you have some comments to make.
Yay. So August 28th, the Yo Theater performed the preview for the 2025 season with excerpts from Electra, Alice by Heart, Treasure Island, and Pride and Prejudice. Work on Electra began last Monday. A Greek tragedy imbued with music and choral work, which is so exciting. Anne Carson's translation of Electra is a revival of a timeless classic. Also, I've collected opinions from my peers on several of the more recent changes. One thing I was excited about is that people are pretty happy with the social atmosphere after the Gonder pouches. I don't think most of the people I talked to, were not like frustrated with not having their phones out. They are a little concerned about the practicality. So people are just thinking about like safety and emergency, 504 plan violations, and not being able to use phones as teacher-approved learning tools. And everyone said this is sort of a way to think about what are our alternatives, where can we find those? For bathroom passes, everyone I talked to mentioned that the single-use paper feels pretty wasteful, and laminated reusable passes seem unsanitary. To spiff up what they said a little bit. So some people proposed a lot of alternatives, including teacher-managed sign-up sheets and students having personal reusable passes. And then the late policy. Most people expressed a preference for a little more nuance in the policy up to teacher interpretation. They're worried about distance classes and generally other extenuating circumstances.
All right, thank you. And then I see that Joaquin also had told us previously, but has taken a step down from the board because of his interest in becoming a firefighter, and of course, the classes are on Mondays, I think Wednesdays, and take up a lot of his time. So we will be actively seeking a new student to join the board. Lila, if you have any suggestions, feel free. You can either send them to Sherry or me or both of us and John. And, but we do have an application form for that. Great. Any comments or questions for the student representative? All right, thank you.
Well, I have one comment.
Oh, sure.
I heard from at least from approximately a dozen students whose, my source is anonymous, that the under pouches have been effective in the sense that people aren't texting that much during school, but they're not really being used. So I was wondering if we really have to pay for them in the future. But just to flag that, that's what I heard. I also heard that people can text on their laptops if they have that ability. And so it's sort of like there's been like a surprising like this inequity in terms of who's been able to text or not.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
people,
know if that's true.
yeah, people can text from their like laptops if they have a personal laptop. It doesn't really work on the Chromebook. I have my Chromebook. I will say for the honor pouches, people not using them, people aren't really using them, but I also think it was like a psychological stepping stone to just having the phone away.
Yeah.
Cause I think if you're thinking my phone is supposed to be in my under pouch, you're not like slipping it out of your bag to like covertly text or anything. It's just, it's supposed to be there. So even if I have my phone in my bag and it's not in the pouch, you're still thinking it's not supposed to be out at all. You're not like sneaking any glances at it. So I think it's been effective, even if the yonder pouches themselves weren't like blatantly necessary to get where we
It
wanted
was
to
an
go.
effective deterrent.
It was an effective deterrent, yeah, absolutely.
Thanks. All right, we're gonna move into the time scheduled appointments, and the first one is the presentation and adoption of the fiscal 26 capital improvements plan. I believe that's Joe.
Sure.
Yep.
Some.
Jim, can you share that?
I can share that. So, real quickly, Joe and I have been working on updating the capital improvements plan we presented to the board, I think 2 years ago now. We presented it 2 years ago to both finance and the B and G committee. We've updated it to reflect new projects either that we've become aware of, or especially at the high school, middle high school, because the new build failed a year ago. We've now put some projects on the schedule for the middle high school that need to get done if we're going to stay in that building. Keep in mind that a capital improvements plan is a plan. And I guarantee you, the day after you adopt it, it will change. It's a dynamic process. Nothing gets cast into stone, and it's not a real hard stone until you develop a budget, and the voters approve a budget. And so all it is, it lays out a plan of how we think we're going to address the capital needs, mostly building and grounds, but not exclusively building and grounds of the district. One of the focuses that we do is Joe goes out and figures out what needs to get done and when it needs to get done. He spends a lot of time talking to the principals, talking to vendors, figuring those things out. Then we sit together and we say, but our bottom line is we don't want this plan to cost any more than X. We want it to stay at X each year as we go forward. So we don't want it to be $1.6 million this year, 3 million next year, you know, $500,000 the following year. We want it to be steady, so the tax rate impact is steady. And so what we do as Joe and I cost out these plans, then what we do is we shift them from year to year to balance the budget so that it stays at about the same impact. And we may do a $5 million project this year, but because its funding is financed over 10 years, the impact is not $5 million in any given year. And so that's what Joe and I did. What you see on the up here is, in our plan, there's a page that said, what is the capital improvements plan? I kind of already just went through that. So what we've done is we've gone through
building by building, and let me see if I can make that big enough that you can see it. And these are the types of projects, so you can see the projects we have scheduled for Reading. The projects we have scheduled for this building, the projects we have scheduled for Prosper Valley. And so we go through this building by building and schedule out these projects. And some of them are scheduled because there's only so many hours in the summer that Joe and his team can do work. Others are pushed out because there's only so much money to go around, and that's all we can afford to do that year. When you're looking down this one, and this is the high school one, you can see about a third of the way down in the column just to the right of the highlighted green, you can see it says GF, then it says BS, which is a bond sale. And then there's something that's highlighted, it says CRF, capital reserve funds. So that's identifying our source of the money to do the projects. And that is important because as we go through to how we're going to pay for it, you can see at the top of this document that just popped up from the screen that anything that is a bond sale is spread out over multiple years, so you only see in any given year the cost that is impacting the budget that year for financial impact. So even though we may be doing a $5 million project, it's spread out over a number of years, and so you only see the part that is impacting in each year. What I want to take you through, and there's lots of data, but what I want to do is take you through to a project sheet and have Joe walk you through a project sheet. Yes,
May I just ask just a couple of foundational questions? What is the criteria for something that's in here? It seems like there's a mix of things. Is there a minimum size for a project?
a project has to be at least $5,000 and have a useful life of more than 18 months.
Okay.
Okay, so a vehicle,
Yeah, right.
Vehicles
would be the low end.
a server might make it. Servers are now around $5,000. So if it's a $4,900 server, it doesn't count. If it's an $8,000 server, it counts.
And just as a refresher to me, and to the board, in municipal finance, we have capital funds that are established by voters and that money is able to be carried over year after year. Do we have the equivalent here?
We have capital reserve funds here. I'm happy to share with you, you're new to the board, the list of what we have for capital reserve funds. We've not put any money in the capital reserve funds since we merged. It's all actually things that we brought in from
But there's balances.
the town schools. We've got a little over, I think, $680,000 in the capital reserve funds.
And so what this outlines is an annual appropriation based on the need that you have mapped based on the assessments.
And it may be part
Using
of,
financing.
it may be part of this year's budget, so it's part of this year's tax rate. It may be a bond sale that will require voter improvement. It may be pulling stuff from capital reserves. When we did the energy project, Joe had not only the capital lease, but he also had a bunch of grants coming in from efficiency Vermont or other things that, so we may have multiple funding sources for any project.
Understood. Thank
I think what we want to point out here is, each of these projects, have justification sheets. So, there's a copy of this and it's in the board book, but each project has a little paragraph, justifying why it was needed. It'll give a brief description of each one, its price tag. And I can't see from here, but it looks like, some,
That's the pre-K kindergarten.
all right, that's the,
Playground.
yeah, the barn playground, which was just completed. And the justification for that is we were required to have a playground for, K and pre-K kids. They couldn't commingle with the larger kids. So each project, as I said, has a justification sheet. And I think what I want to reiterate too is what Jim said here, that this is a living document. It changes, depending on issues that come up, what's priority, what isn't. So it'll also change too over the years just because of pricing. I found that this year, a lot of the pricing that we've had for the past 2 years, the 20-some odd% we added to our projects, thinking of inflation, have been totally blown out of the water. So things do change, things get pushed around. Most of it is priority based. You know, we have windows that need to be replaced, that's priority. We have some issues that are happening here at the high school right now that we're gonna have to address here in the near future, probably within the next year. That's gonna cause some projects to get pushed into different years.
So the project sheet I have up there now is a Killington Elementary School mechanical air handler replacement project. It's already been engineered. We hope to pay for it with some of the ESSER funds. The project, which we originally expected to be 500 to 700,000, came in at $1.5 million. And so, we've pushed it out, and this shows, for instance, the budget impact over a 10-year bond, because I'm proposing that we do it as a 10-year bond. You as a board make those decisions. This is the recommendation coming from me on the finance side, and Joe is the one that's recommending the project for all the reasons in the justification. Okay. One of the things that's really important, and the reason this is an action item, is part of the requirements of the Department of Ed is that we have a functioning capital improvements plan in order to be part of our process when we go for a new building. They want to make sure that we're taking care of the buildings we have. And although we presented one 2 years ago, I believe, you as a board, we didn't push you to adopt it, you didn't adopt it. I'm asking you to now adopt this as a plan so that we have the document. So it's one more tool in our package of things that we have when we go to the Department of Ed and keep pushing to move forward with building.
But a document doesn't mean any appropriation at this point, it's just a plan.
It's a commitment to a plan, it's not a
commitment to
financial,
process.
it's not a financial commitment.
Okay.
And for instance, Joe has become aware of, and I'm happy to share pictures if you really want to see, of how far the sewer pipes underneath the middle high school are deteriorating. And we will probably be bringing to you, as part of the budget process, a warrant article for a project somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million to horizontally bore or jackhammer the hallways in the school, so we can replace the sewer pipes that have rusted through and we're down to gravel. And as we get more information, Joe will bring that to his B&G committee. We're hoping they don't have something this month, but definitely by October. And that's a project that can't wait. We can't keep going this way for 4 years it'll take to get a new building built.
These are the waste lines that are connected to the cafeteria. So, periodically, it's probably every few months or so, they get clogged. We sent a camera down to take a look at it. We actually tried to eliminate some of the buildup that was in there, and the pipes are just so far gone, we weren't able to actually do much there. They're to the point where it, as Sherry likes to say, we're one flush away, we're probably there. We can get away with closing bathrooms, but we can't get away with closing the cafeteria if they want out of school.
So that's something we already know, but we became aware of it recently enough that we haven't yet incorporated into the capital improvements plan, because we don't know what we're talking about yet. We will soon, we don't yet.
Go ahead, Matt.
Can I make a motion to adopt the capital plan?
I'll second that motion.
We open it to discussion. So I'll make a quick comment. Having served on buildings and ground and finance committee, this tool is very, very helpful. It's non-binding, it's flexible, but it's a planning tool. And so when it comes time to pick what projects go into this year's budget, we will already have a list of projects that are needed, and each project has an individual memo with a justification. And that way you're not starting all over at the beginning of the planning year, with everybody listing the projects they want and trying to fight over priorities, because you've had this for 5 years and you've been methodically picking what projects to do, so. That's my input.
Can I make a comment, Jerry?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
I just wanna I built a capital plan for the town of Killington, and it was, I think the other thing that I learned, took away from the process is that now everyone will know what's being considered.
Yep.
So it's like a transparency document, and it's a participation document. So that everyone can actually have awareness and input as to what gets worked on. So I'm definitely for it. And it'll help us during the budget a lot.
Any other comments from the board? All right, then I will call for a vote. All in favor of approving this document, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the motion passes. Thank you very much to Joe and Jim and everybody else who's worked on it with buildings and grounds. Thank you. All right. The next, we have a MVSU presentation.
Before we go into that presentation, I want to introduce the board to our new assistant principal, Chris Lanzalato, who is our first day night here, and welcome. You can tell he's new because he's got a tie from the board meeting. He's done everything. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for coming tonight. It is a long commute. So let me open this up for Sharon. So the start of every school year is the job of the leadership team to present the vision for the upcoming school year. So the leadership team decided to put together a presentation with some arm twisting from me regarding what we see as our priorities for this work. Members of the leadership team will be participating in this presentation, so it won't be just my voice. But in order to make our plan for the next school year, it was really important to reflect on who we are as MVSU and the priorities we have. And also a really important opportunity to celebrate the work we've been doing over the last 4 and 5 years. So I'm gonna make this small if that's okay. Thank you. So we are Mountain View Supervisory Union. We are 5 elementary schools. We have a commitment to full-time public pre-K. We have 1 middle and high school. We have around 1,000 students, 250 faculty and staff, building a strong foundation where our scores are well above the Vermont state averages for proficiency in literacy, math, and science. And we're centered on student, family, education, and community relationships. Our community is communities and schools. We have Barnard Academy, Killington Elementary, Prosper Valley School, Reading Elementary, Woodstock Elementary, and Woodstock Union Middle and High Schools. And I have to be careful because I tend to talk rather through that.
Hi, I'm Melissa Zorhide. I'm the principal at Barnard Academy. And our school is a preschool through 6th grade where students truly thrive. We build our foundation on strong relationships and a positive culture where mistakes become learning opportunities, curiosity is celebrated, and every student feels valued for their unique contributions. We're just 65 students across 4 multi-grade classrooms. Our intimate setting allows something special to happen. Our students aren't just learners, they're explorers, critical thinkers, leaders, and active community members. Our experienced teaching staff brings decades of educational wisdom to each classroom. This deep expertise allows us to truly know each student and to adapt their instruction for their individual needs. And we're experts at maximizing our learning time. This is so true. We're creating a space for the enriching experiences for learning to come alive. And we have some unique things to offer. We do 2 annual whole school musicals each year. We have many field trips. We span from our local Silver Lake that's within walking distance to Washington, DC. And we just bring the world into our curriculum. We've spent like a whole day some summers just trying to match up, how do we have a field trip that fits right with the curriculum that we're offering and our learning that we want to have for students that year. We also pride ourselves in weekly outdoor place-based learning experiences for students. And just our whole staff is so excited about preparing our students to go on for the rest of their lives being lifelong learners and being confident and kind and just ready to lead in this world. And I so truly believe that, and Barnard's an incredible school, so I'm so happy to be part of that.
Thank you.
Okay, I am Mary Guggenberger and I am the principal at Killington Elementary School. And we are proud to have a brand new vision statement this year. Last year, a group of teachers and I worked together to sift out who we really are. We are Yetis, but we are, our vision is for every student to meet their summit to success. And our new mission statement gets us there. Our mission is to cultivate an environment that provides a sense of belonging and community, fosters growth mindsets, and supports all learners on their journey to success. We are right at the base of Killington Resort, and we celebrate that every day. We love being in the mountains. We get outside. We have a 1-mile nature trail that we do a lot of outdoor learning on. We have our sugar grove out there and our maple sugar shack, which is not in the picture. Sorry to say, but we do a lot of outdoor experiences, and we also appreciate the arts and musicals in our school. We're so fortunate to be right at the base of Killington Mountain. We can take our entire school, K-6, skiing for 7 weeks in a row up at Killington, and they partner with us to make it happen for every single child. So we're excited to be where we are in Killington, and we're excited to promote our new vision this year.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Devin Workman. I'm the principal of Prosper Valley. I just want to back up Chris with the tie. I've not been here, but I wear a tie every day except for Friday. Friday is Flannel Friday, if you don't know. At Prosper Valley, we've got a lot to offer as well. The top right picture is a picture from last year's Harvest Supper, which is back on. Believe it or not, it was like about a week where we didn't think it was going to happen. But talk about community. Prosper Valley has been working through the Harvest Supper for many, many years. My speech for a different night has the number for you. This is the first weekend of October every single year where community comes together, all the way from students being your servers to the community cooking your turkey. This is a really great community experience, and I highlight this because 1, it's coming up soon, and 2, I've worked in a lot of schools and a lot of districts, and I've never seen a community event quite like this one. Prosper Valley has a lot to offer. We do have a quick little picture of our sugar shack there. We do sap and syrup every year. We have an observatory that does some amazing astrophotography. Retired teacher Rob Hansen comes and he can't get enough, he can't get away. He keeps coming back to help us out. We have a challenge course on our campus. As of the last 3 years, we have 4 low ropes in the woods and 5 high elements in the gym. This is a really great opportunity for us. We've already gotten 2 classes climbing this year. This is a great team building thing at the beginning of the year, but also really great celebrations of learning throughout. At Prosper Valley, we really pride ourselves on being the only intermediate school in the district. Having worked in many K-6 schools in this district, there's something really special that happens at Prosper Valley where we are really allowing middle school type experiences to happen at a younger age, which is often come with a lot of middle school mistakes. And with that, we really get to take the teaching and learning approach before the big school, as we call it, and get to teach a lot of great skills for our students. We are at 6 homerooms this year, 3 5th grade and 3 6th grade. We have 111 students at Prosper Valley. We can't take many more. We are bursting at the seams, but it is with full of joy. We have 6 homeroom teachers, and of those homeroom teachers, all very unique in their own ways and all have really great superpowers to offer to our kids. So Prosper Valley is a really special place that I hope I get to be at for a long time.
Thank you.
Hi. Hi, I'm Amanda Rank. I'm not wearing a tie tonight. I am the interim principal and special educator for Reading Elementary School. I wrote down what I was gonna say. You might know us as the smallest school within NVSU, but at Reading, we like to say that our size is our strength. In a school, in the size of Reading Elementary School, every child is known. Every family is connected and every story matters. I asked staff to share all of their favorite photos, and I think they really highlight the natural beauty that surrounds Reading. We have acres of forest, meadows, and trails, but the real beauty is inside the school. We have a staff that's not only a veteran staff, but they care so deeply. They make strong connections with all families, and they are able to provide personalized learning to every child. One of our students captured it better than I could ever say last week when they said, you know, in fairy tales, when they say happily ever after, well, that's how I feel about my life. That sense of joy and belonging is what defines Reading Elementary School, and it's what makes small schools special.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maggie Mills, principal over at Woodstock Elementary School. Like Reading, we are a pre-K to fourth grade school. Unlike Reading, we are a big school. We are the big city school of the elementaries. I like to joke we're nestled right in the heart of the village of Woodstock, and we are focused on our vision of cultivating compassionate, empowered learners. We do that through our mission of providing a strong foundation and fostering perseverance and belonging. Some of the ways that we do that start in our robust 60-child preschool program, where we lay the groundwork as a place to begin those foundational skills of social emotional health and wellness and learning, and lay the groundwork for academic success there with some pre-academic skills. From there, we build up to our fourth graders. You can see our fourth graders on the right there. They end their time in fourth grade at Woodstock Elementary School by producing a Shakespeare play. So we go all the way from the early learning up to Shakespeare in their time at Woodstock Elementary. We really emphasize belonging through partnering with families, bringing families into the school and partnering with them. We also emphasize belonging through the role our school plays in the Woodstock community. We're able to get out a lot, whether it's preschoolers walking to the post office or taking a tour of the different clock towers in the community, or first graders walking to Billings Barn to learn about tools for work and play. We are proud to be situated right in the heart of a community that offers so much place-based learning for our students. And we are also proud to have teachers that work on strong teams. We have at least 2 teachers at every grade level, and they work really hard to offer strong teaming, partnering with unified arts teachers as well, special educators, reading interventionists, math interventionists, and the para educators to make sure we're providing the strongest possible opportunities for the students in our school.
Thank you.
Right, good evening, everyone. I'm Aaron St. Humani, the principal of Woodstock Union Middle School and High School. Start with the top left-hand corner, intentionally underwhelming photo of the front of our school, because I really want to emphasize the other pictures, which are the amazing things that happen in our school. So right from the middle, the portrait of a graduate, which guides our programming and decision-making, as we build classes, build out new pathways, as Jen Sutton mentioned before, and also as we look towards the graduate, which is featured in our top right-hand corner. We have our 2 salutatorians from this past school year that we're very proud of. The bottom right-hand corner, just so many of our students participating in extracurricular sports and after-school activities. 75% or more are participating in after-school activities. The bottom left-hand corner, our theater group, 11 to 12% of our population participates in our theater programming. So we just really wanted to emphasize that it's about everything that's going on in our school and around our school that really matters. From our graduates to the high levels of participation to the AP courses, lots of statistics to be proud of, and we'll be able to speak to a lot more of that in some upcoming slides. Thanks.
Thank you. So it's important to note that these are the towns of NVSU. So we have our 8 member towns: Barnard, Bridgewater, Killington, Pittsfield, Plymouth, Pomfret, Reading, and Woodstock. What's also important is that we have 20 sending communities to our high school. So when we see that represented not in just a list, but in terms of the context of our map of Vermont, it really shows the impact that this district is having on the students and communities that surround us. The portrait of a graduate, as Aaron was saying, is really our guiding vision of what we want for our students. It's important to note that this is not a new portrait. This is our second version of a portrait of a graduate. So this has been the basis and direction of our work for more than 6 years. So I'd like to think that, this really is grounded in every classroom from pre-K right through high school. We also have a really strong strategic plan. This is our second strategic plan. Again, we are not new to this process of identifying what our focus areas are, bringing in community members, parents, students, faculty, staff, in terms of setting the guideposts for the next 5 years. The focus areas for this strategic plan, we're entering year 2, enhancing educational programs and diversifying pathways, vibrant homeschool and community partnerships, a culture of belonging, purpose, and joy, and safe and supportive school environments, and finally, foundational systems. So the first of those focus areas is the programs and diversifying pathways. Some of the goals that we accomplished last year included creating a future U course, looking for post-secondary planning, and beginning the mapping of student pathways through the high school.
Okay. So hi, everyone. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself earlier. I'm Jen Settle. I'm the Director of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment. I'm going to be speaking on behalf of Patty Kelly, who is our math facilitator, to speak to this slide right here, which is about our math program. And so we share our mission and vision for math in our district, where all students will engage with high quality instruction and experience mathematical success and joy. And Patty wanted to share some of the professional learning and collaboration that's happening this year, much of which has happened in the past as well. And we'll explain some of the wonderful outcomes we're having. So we have 4 days of Math Pack PB, lots of grade level collaboration. We have the middle school and high school engaging with a group that's going to come in and talk about instructional practice as well. And then of course, Patty is in school supporting teachers. We have a new math program that we're engaging with this year. We're going to be implementing illustrative mathematics through Imagine Learning. And Patty has a wealth of math newsletters that come out monthly for teachers that include all kinds of great fun math problems to engage with. And also some recent news about math in the world. And then finally, she wanted to capture some of the data in the district that we've seen for VTCAP. What she did is she traced performance by proficiency, 5th grade to 6th grade. So you can see in 2024, we had 42% proficient on the VTCAP. That same cohort in 6th grade in 2025 were 65% proficient. And then same thing for another cohort going from 8th to 9th grade in 2024, 61% proficient, up to 73% proficient in 9th grade. So some success there.
Very much.
I am also going to be Julie Brown tonight. She is our literacy facilitator. Julie Brown wanted to remind us that we have some guiding documents that we've developed with a strong mission and vision for literacy in our district, with a goal of 90% of our students being proficient or above proficient in reading by the end of grade 3 and maintaining that proficiency level beyond grade 3. Next slide. And then we have Snoopy celebrating some awesome successes. For grade 3, this is an assessment we do in early literacy. What you can see here is that grade 3 over the years from 2021 to 2025. I'd say let's focus on the red bar, which are students needing intensive intervention. Sorry, I'm walking all over you. Students needing intensive intervention, as you can see, has gone down over the years, whereas the students who are proficient or above has gone up over the years, and those would be the blue and green bars. So we want to see the red decreasing over time and the blue and green increasing over time. And then for VTCAP, which is a state level assessment, right? So the one on the left is our local assessment. We want to see that same performance happening in our state level assessments. You can see that from 2023 to 2025, we've had an increase in performance at the 3rd grade level over time. We are making great strides towards our goals, and we are very thankful for all of the work our teachers have done to make this happen. She has some more good news, which is 10th grade level. So end of year, 10th grade percent above intervention level. So we want lots in the blue and green, and you can see that since 2022, that has been going up over time. And also the other colors going down over time. So the students requiring extra supports and intervention. So we can see that the massive lift of literacy work in our district is making a difference, and we're very excited to share that.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Raphael Adamek. I'm the Director of Technology and Innovation for the district. And I get to continue with the theme of celebrations by sharing some of our most recent VTCAP data. And so during the 2025 assessment, we scored higher than we have in every area. So we're seeing improvement across the board in ELA and in math and in science. And what I want to highlight here is as well, we are able to compare it to how we did last year across the state. And so you'll see, not only did we improve in each area, but last year as well, we were faring pretty well when you compare it to other districts throughout the state. So I think it's safe to say that we're one of the top performing districts in the state. And as Sherry notes, we haven't seen growth like this in the 32 years that she's been here. So some very encouraging information around how we're doing here.
So for faculty who sat in faculty meetings for years, we looked at our data, it was always stuck, no matter what we tried. And again, well-intentioned teachers, well-intentioned curriculum, we really did a lot of professional development. We've never seen this kind of growth in such a short period of time. But the concentrated energy in terms of professional development, the investment in resources, we used our ESSER money well. We invested in strong professional development and leadership, really scientifically based resources for mathematics and literacy, and really thought about how we use every single minute of our school day. And this is the difference. And it's really impressive. We will know the other, allegedly, scores from the state and how we compete from this year. They're supposed to be released in October.
Sure.
Yes.
Well, first of all, congratulations to everybody who contributed to this. The context is helpful. Related to the context, how many SUs are there? Like
55.
55. Okay, so we're 10th of 55. We were 10th. What are we now at the 62%?
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet. Okay, yeah, I see. Oh, we were 10th. We've gone up. We should be conceivably be higher. Yeah. Great. You guys may put that in there.
So me, that's slide 19. Aaron, the principal at the high school, middle school, again. You know, I'm not gonna go through all these wonderful data points, but there's a lot here to be proud of. I wanna bring your particular attention to the top right-hand corner of the HACTC, Hartford Area Career Technical Center. This is a program that we're also really proud of and really appreciate the partnership that we have with Hartford Tech Center. Chris and I were able to spend some time over there this summer, getting to know the staff, see the space as well. But I just want to bring to your attention that those 17 seniors that just went through that program, all of them received financial support through scholarships. And I was also able to participate in their graduation, which was at the Lebanon Opera House this past spring. Not only was there an abundance of scholarships awarded to the students that go to our high school, but one of our own students was the Hartford Tech Student of the Year, Ian Woodward. So, Ryan Woodward. one of our nurse's son. But so really proud of the APs, the bioliteracy, craft, the National Honor Society, proud of all of those things. But I just want to take a moment to just put a spotlight on our partnership with the Hartford Area Career Technical Center. It's our partnership with Hartford that really allows us to meet the needs and different types of needs and interests of all of our students. So from the athletics to the academics, to real hands-on practical work. And all those students finish their programming with real job certifications, and they can walk right out the door into the workforce. So much to be proud of there, and really proud of our Hartford students as well. We just rise and shine, and just had an amazing year representing our school in that program.
And just to kind of build on that, this is the result, I believe, of really having these confident readers, writers, mathematicians. You don't take an AP class unless you believe you can be successful. And I think the push and the drive that you're seeing in our high school students is a direct result with the emphasis that we put in literacy, mathematics, and science. And so I think when students feel confident and part of the community, they're willing to take these risks in a really healthy way.
Sorry, one last question.
Sure.
You mentioned a lot of the success and the growth has been due to the one-time use of ESSER money. How do you make that sustainable? That continued trend?
Yeah, some other, Jen, do you wanna, I sort of lean into.
A lot of what we invested in was curriculum oriented, so we weren't investing in like people that we can't afford anymore and have to go. We were actually investing in things that actually like professional development for teachers that will go into perpetuity.
And we've trained trainers, so we have other teachers beyond our coaches who are able to lead some of that training. We this year are piloting a program where teachers can dive deep into any one of these areas and receive additional rewards for that. It's called thank you, micro credentialing. So it's a part where you take your professional development, you do a lesson study for a year, and then you do a project. So again, building capacity within our buildings beyond our 1.8 coaches for the entire district. So we're thinking about that, Seth. It's really important that we used our money well, and now we sustain that work. Another important part of our focus for our strategic plan is around community partnerships. We introduced Parent Square last year as a communication tool, and now we're piloting family and education together teams in all of our elementary schools. Mary?
That's me. Yeah, Mary Guggenberger, principal at Killington. What I just wanted to really highlight about this slide is that all of these schools are reflecting the values of our communities, including environmental science, like VINS partnerships, theater and the arts. There's a Pentangle, and we have Killington's World Cup Foundation, snow sports and outdoor rec. Almost everybody, all of our schools value those, and it's really reflective in our communities. And it brings our communities into our schools to share in those values.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tom Emery. I am the Special Education Coordinator for Woodstock Union High School and Middle School. This slide highlights our community partnerships, and this is just a selection of some of the many that we have. Through these partnerships, students are able to explore diverse interests with our community members and collaborate on lots of different projects. You can see some of the interests range from social justice, environment, the arts, and many others. We're really proud of these relationships that we've developed over time, because these experiences allow our students to gain real world life experiences that become part of their educational journey.
Thank you. Our next focus area is around belonging, purpose, and joy. This last year, we did our 4th annual Student Leadership Summit. In November, we'll have our 5th annual Student Leadership Summit. And also the work that Aaron and his team did last year around taking leadership in the cell phone free learning environment. Is Lori here tonight?
I am here tonight.
Thank you, Lori.
You're welcome. I'm Lori Beelet. I'm the assistant principal at Woodstock Elementary School. And this slide highlights how much our district prioritizes student voice and student agency, leading to independent leaders. We offer many leadership opportunities starting at the younger grades, even in kindergarten, where they can help with bus duty opportunities with staff, and we offer mentoring cross grade levels. We offer pre-K mentorships. We offer just lots of opportunities for students to start feeling like they are making decisions that are based on what's important to them. We've opened up lots of opportunities for them to give student voice for our positive cultures in our schools, student voice on data that we've brought into our older kids in 4th through 6th grade, giving opportunities to make a difference in the schools. Yeah, so this slide just highlights a lot of those opportunities as we're developing leaders as young as pre-K.
Thank you, Lori.
Okay.
Yep.
Hi, Chris Langelano, assistant principal. So I'm talking about the leadership slides. But before I even talk about the slides, I'd just like to say, I'm 8 days into the high school, middle school, and it's been a great opportunity for me. Thing that I'm most impressed with is really how the students have really stepped up, especially the seniors, as far as being an example for the rest of the school. There's a lot of change took place, and there was a lot of things that had to be adjusted, and some different behaviors, and certainly the idea, the concept of cell phones not being a distraction and interfering with the educational environment. Big initiative, obviously, and I think the way the seniors have approached it has really set the tone for the entire school. And I'm really excited to see that leadership really trickle all the way down to the 7th graders. I'm excited about seeing some of these programs. I obviously wasn't here last year, but from what I understand is a incredible shadow day where 6th graders come up and kind of shadow students. I know Sherry has a meeting coming up with our social justice for the leadership summit is coming up. And I had the opportunity last week to meet with the senior class officers, and just hearing them talk about the school and their ideas, just the way they're approaching it is just very impressive. I've been meeting with the student council on Wednesday and looking forward to setting up meetings with the juniors as well. Talk about some of their ideas and things that they're looking for in prom and all these big events that are happening. But I think the school year has been off to a fabulous start, and I really, really appreciate the leadership and welcoming feeling that there is in high school, and people kind of really bought into a lot of the things we're trying to do. Thank you.
Hello again, everyone. This slide highlights our participation rate. Aaron already spoke about this. Over 75% of our students participate in a extracurricular activity. Over 10% of our students participate in YO. Furthermore, beyond just the participation rate, we've had a long success full career in many sports here with lots of state championships. Noted the football team right in the center on the bottom last year. As well as many prestigious awards. And so we're really proud of that participation rate and the successes we've experienced.
Great. So as you probably heard, the middle school won an award. And I'd like to say a little bit about how that happened. So about 2 years ago, the middle school wanted to think through ways that they could improve their program. And the organization to work with for middle level education is the Association for Middle Level Education, which is actually an international organization that really has all of the research and best practices around working with that particular age group. That organization offers a survey that you can give to parents, students, and teachers to learn about how to improve your program. So 2 years ago, the middle school decided to do that survey. They received the results back, 90 pages worth of information, and took a year to really dig into what they learned from those surveys and to come up with a plan for how they can improve. And so they then worked with Anley to receive some professional learning around how to build belonging through an advisory program at the high school, middle school to make their advisory programming sharper for this particular age group. And from there, they have built out a new advisory program that they're implementing this year. through that process, and because they did the survey, they were allowed to apply to become a school of distinction. And the reason why they decided to apply was because they knew that if they didn't get the award, that they would receive some incredible professional development from AMLE as a part of the program. If you don't get it, we'll help you out. And we had also heard that you have to apply multiple times before you can win. But they applied, and in the first round, they were given the distinction, which is pretty incredible. And really, I just wanted to say that they weren't doing any of this for the distinction, they really just wanted to grow. And I think they want everyone to know that. They weren't in it for the accolade. Part of what we had to produce after winning was a video. And so we have the video to share with you. If you have not seen it yet, it makes me cry every time, so I'm just gonna hide back there with my tissues.
Oftentimes middle school students are misunderstood, and I think they're often underestimated. They're capable of critical thinking at a high level. They're curious, and I think that's what we do well here. We recognize the promise and the potential in this age group.
We have about 132 middle school students at our school here in rural Vermont. One of the things that we're really proud of is, our student to staff ratio. It's in that setting that teachers really get to know students and students get to know teachers. Because of those relationships, students are challenged and they have the support they need to overcome those challenges. How I would describe our middle school staff culture is reflective and progressive. The educational team here is actively seeking meaningful and authentic student feedback to inform their teaching, which informs the student experience.
We all believe in the value, the uniqueness, and the importance of this time in these students' lives. And we try to think about education as something that's continually evolving, and we try to be creative in what learning looks like in our classes, and we try to connect it to what's happening in the real world. One of the real strengths of our school is that we have a huge variety for our size of our school of things that kids can do outside of the classroom.
Every time I get to a new grade, that grade is like my favorite. Like I think it's my favorite grade every single time.
Every student begins their time in the middle school where they camp out and then ends their time in the middle school where they camp out. That initial camp out in seventh grade, I think is really important for helping to build a sense of community. And this just further solidifies those bonds.
I feel like from seventh grade to now, I've changed as a person by like gaining more leadership skills. I feel like I've just generally like matured more. I've become a better friend. Just learning to talk with other people and work with other people is essential for being around other people.
We're hoping that as they develop over time and as they gain more confidence, as they become familiar with our school, that they see themselves as having agency and that they see us as the adults in the building and their teachers as partners with them along their learning journey.
I think I thought that I knew myself really well. I realized that since coming to middle school, I don't have it all figured out and I don't like know what I want to be exactly when I grow up. And it's actually been really powerful and it sounds kind of scary, but it's also kind of freeing when you're like, I can kind of do whatever I want and I understand.
They are learning so much about who they are as human beings and as people and as members of a community while they're in middle school. And I think that's the piece that is the springboard for the rest of their lives.
Yay. Another area of focus is our safe and supportive school environments. I spoke earlier about the community care coordinator position, which is a community-based health focused position that we work with really closely. And we've been able to complete a number of the facility improvement projects that were highlighted.
So I'm Shayna Kalitsky for this round right now. This is a little snapshot from our youth risk behavior survey. It's a statewide survey that happens annual. And
Every 3 years.
every 3 years. And we are actually really proud to report on some of our protective factors that were reported in this report. So compared with Vermont high school students, our high school students report stronger protective factors. So that's protections from factors that would prevent them from choosing risky behaviors, including belonging, school engagement, and post-secondary planning. And so in the graphic here, you can see with the backpack, that 79% of our students participate in 10 or more hours per week of after-school activities versus 24% for the state of Vermont. And that we have 79% that feel they matter to others in their community, and 79% plan to attend further schooling after finishing high school. So we demonstrate strong protective factors, including belonging and parental engagement. And that helped us, it's an indicator that we'll have lower engagement in some of those risky behaviors.
This is really a huge lift and a big change as someone who, as a teacher at the high school, middle school, especially the part of mattering to their community for a long period of time. Our students didn't feel that they were welcome and invited and being part of the town of Woodstock and their own communities. So for 79% to believe that they are part of a community, that sense of belonging, a huge piece of our work during COVID, post-COVID, really remarkable. And then the comparison of 10 or plus hours per week, 24% is the state average. We are at 79%. Incredibly exciting. We've also, Joe's team has been very busy. New roof on the Killington Elementary School, new playground in Barnard. We can see a whole bunch of the parking lot in Reading is amazing. So our group, with the resources we have, we continue to work on and build our facilities. So that might have to do a lot more. So in our foundation systems, this is where we look at what work we do to make sure that we are continuing to have the systems in place to be efficient, and then we're bringing in other partners for work. So you can see that we partner with Dartmouth faculty and students to assess current onboarding systems and making recommendations. In the past, I talked about the relationship we've had with last year with Stanford University, University of North Carolina, Harvard, MIT, and Dartmouth. Lots of partners coming in and making sure that we're excelling in areas that we really want to work on. And we have a working group that established to review systems and recommendations from the Dartmouth group. So here's just in terms of how do we take care of our faculty and staff. As you can see, our attrition remains in terms of teachers pretty consistent, even with the buyout last year. Oh, I'm sorry. Last time I did this, I just kept going. So I just get a little excited. Even with the buyout last year, we really did still have the same number of teachers coming and going, which was exciting. And a lot of different professional development and a lot of different areas that teachers have taken advantage of. I think it's really impressive to see that 75% of our faculty have either a PhD or a master's degree. We're in central Vermont and we bring really well, highly trained professionals to our team. Equity. So this is another focus area that we've been doing a lot of work with that's outside of the strategic plan.
So one of the most persistent and predictable equity areas that we are working on is the gap in performance between our students on standardized tests between those who receive free reduced lunch and those who do not. So this is some data that you may have seen before. On the left, you see last winter's STAR scores, difference between those students who receive free reduced lunch and those who don't in terms of proficiency on both reading and math. And one piece that is encouraging about this is that while there is this large gap in proficiency, if you look at growth on the right side there, you'll see that the two groups are actually very similar in terms of where they were in the growth in this particular assessment. So we have some hope and we're encouraged by the fact that these students are starting to show growth in similar rates. But our work is not done yet. This shows the most recent gap on the VT cap in the different areas, and you'll see that some of these gaps are rather large. And so we know that this is an area that we're continuing to work on, and we have more to do. What is encouraging about this, which you can't see from this graph, is that in some of these, if you break it down into individual grade levels, there are a few grade levels and tests where the gap is virtually non-existent. So we're hopeful that this will change more over time, and we'll see this. I'm covering for Shana on these two, so some of our other equity data, we're constantly looking, every year we look at our data to see how our students are faring and how different groups of our students are able to access the different resources that we have. So from whether it's the total number of students who receive free reduced lunch, the number of students who are participating in AP classes, disciplinary incidents. These are all things that we're looking at a regular basis to really look at our systems and make sure that we're serving our students as best as we can, and all of our students. And we also look at our BIPOC data regularly as well, just to sort of look at students that we have before us, who we have in our staff and faculty, and how those students are being represented in AP classes and in disciplinary incidents.
So as we think about the work of next year, so we celebrated a lot and we had a lot to celebrate, and it was time to do some celebrating. So that was the majority of this presentation. But what's really important is how do we get there and how do we continue to, as Ralph often says, how do we do the last miles of this race? And so a really important piece of work that we've done is around coherence. What we need is consistency of purpose, policy, and practice. Structure and strategy are not enough. When we merged as a district, we began to be able to have that coherence in our work across our buildings. The solution requires the individual and collective ability to build shared meaning, capacity, and commitment to action. And as said in this quote, when large numbers of people have a deeply understood sense of what needs to be done and see their part in achieving that purpose, coherence emerges and powerful things happen. And I hope our data shows those powerful things can happen. What are we proud of? This was listed by our leadership team, and you can see amazing students. Our school boards support graduation rates, universal pre-K, literacy growth, partnerships with higher ed, and so much more. In 2019, 2020, that's how old I am, 19, okay. 2019 to 2020, we really began the work of setting a pathway forward. And these were the priorities we had depending upon the areas that we were working on. So we decided to revise that document and really think about ourselves in terms of what are the jobs of each of the members of this learning team. We call this the through line. From the school board, central office, school leaders, teachers, right to the student. And we want every student, pre-K to 12, to say, I'm a reader, I belong and I care, I'm a mathematician. Teachers, we want them to use student outcomes to inform instruction, to teach and model social emotional learning, to actualize the math agreements that they work so hard to develop. As school leaders, we want to engage in professional development and prioritize teacher time and resources. We want to support a culture for a positive school climate. We want to provide a capacity for collaboration and implementation. As a central office team, we want to make sure that we offer professional development, support literacy and math facilitators, advance opportunities for teacher and parent input, and provide access to data. And as Carrie and John really clearly said, well, where's the board in this representation? And it's true, our board advocates for resources, writes impactful policies, and values the work of NBSU. So we are NBSU and we are all learners. Thank you for the presentation.
T-shirts available, right, Sharon?
T-shirts are available for board members here. Who would like,
And any who.
and any who would like to come in.
Well, thank you very much. John and I have had the ability to see some of this and have even a little bit of input here or there, as our opinions were asked. And I just think it brings together a lot of positive things that by themselves you hear, but you don't always see it as a collection of positives. I know that Lindsay Hyde's students started the work as well in gathering a lot of these pieces of information and statistics. And then you all put together a very readable and understandable slideshow that certainly can be used when we need to promote ourselves selflessly as we seek funding for our new school. But thank you very much for all of that. All right, we now have to approve some new hires. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 folks. And I'd prefer to have that done as a group rather than individually. So if somebody would like to make a motion to approve the new hires, please do so.
I'll make a motion to approve all 10 new hires.
And
I'll
I
second.
second.
Okay, I think Matt got in, but quite just a second before Anna. Is there anything you want to say, Sherry, about the new hires, or?
I think while some of these individuals were late in the hiring process, I'm really excited to bring a real variety again, coming from across the world, and offering a deep set of skills, all the way until Sandra, who I met last week, who will be moving into Woodstock Elementary in their social emotional position. I think even though we had some late hires, they're bringing a deep set of skills.
Great.
I do have one question. I know we were not able to fill the Spanish teacher role at West. So what happens at this point? Do we keep it open and try to fill it, like even if that teacher is to come in like partway through the school year?
Yes, the position will continue to be open and we will look at viable candidates right through the year. That's what we always do.
Are there any other vacancies like that that the board could hear about? Because I mean, this is great. We have all these new hires, but I'm just wondering, besides that one Spanish teacher at West, were there any other key vacancies that we haven't filled?
There were parts, but there was a half of school counselors shared between Barnard and Reading. We're filling that with a program assistant, the Spanish teacher. I think that's the only ones that I can remember that weren't able to fill off the top of my head.
All right, are we ready to vote to approve? All in favor, please say aye or wave your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you very much for approving these teachers. We now have committee updates, starting with the finance committee.
All right, we did meet, Corinne and Anna and the administration, so it's a little early in the budgeting season to share the results of a draft fiscal 27 budget, but Jim has spent some time on that, and so I just wanted to share with you what some of the drivers are. And just remember, for anyone new to the board, that we're on the fiscal year, 27 will be July 1st, 2026 through June 30th of 2027. So when Jim rolled forward all of the sort of standard assumptions, like what we've agreed to in our collective bargaining agreements for teachers, for support staff, for non-union staff. For those are like 4 or 5%, and health insurance was a big one, 12% went up. Benefits went up 4%. All other costs generally got about a 3% inflation factor. We're seeing some increases in technology, liability insurance. This was just an exercise to take last year's budget, roll it forward, and it does not yet have input from principals in terms of what additional needs they might have. It also hasn't been entirely scrubbed for cost savings, like if you compare historical actuals to projections, like have we come under budget in places where we could maybe start to forecast a lower amount. But bottom line is it's about a 5.5% to 6% budget increase overall. That's the expenses, that's before our revenues. So we haven't calculated revenues yet. And I would just say that it's a little early to know what amount we might be in the threshold or the penalty phase. But I think it's fair to say that we would likely end up in that phase again, and the reason is that we were in it last year. I think everyone who remembers being on the board last year, when they reintroduced penalty phase, we were 3.5 million into penalty. We restructured debt. We took some significant, budget cuts that were very challenging and difficult for the staff, the students, the community, and the board to accept. But ultimately, we got to a point where, having been 3.5 million in the penalty, we ended up just under 1 million in the penalty. That threshold calculation has not been released from the state yet, so we can't calculate it today. But again, like if nothing else changes, we're likely going to be in it again. And so the board just has to be prepared for like what we would, how we would react to that, what can we tolerate? And as I think about it, from being on the finance committee, just understand, like, it was really challenging last year to make those cuts. It would be hard to go back with that sort of level of cuts again, having just done that. And I also think about the fact that in 2 years, our entire funding formula will change under the new state law. I think, is it 2 years? Is that right, Jim? And so a lot of the tax savings that might come with that law, at least, you know, that was the intent of the law, are coming down the road. So I would be cautious about you know, trying to dig too deep or take too big of cuts now. When there is a solution that the state has come up with that should potentially save some money 2 years down the road. And we also, like, you could think about that new funding formula, and you could start saying today, well, if my per pupil spending is higher than what I think the state's gonna give us, then we should start preparing now to cut and be right in line with what the state's gonna give us. I think the concern I have with that approach is we don't know if the state's gonna change it. We don't know what our new district will be, like what other schools will be sharing a budget with. And we don't know things like our daily number of students and any weighting adjustments. So I'm just putting it out there. My statement from the finance committee is just that we will likely be dealing with penalty phase again, but I think we just want to be, you know, careful with how far we go, given how much change is coming in the next couple years. So in about, what, another 2 months, Jim, I think we'll be presenting the full board with, or the full budget.
In early November now.
Okay. That's my update.
Thank you. Any questions for Matt? All right, thank you. Elliot, policy.
So with the challenge to make our policies impactful, I would hope that we, at least, some of them may be mundane, but at least hopefully they reflect our values. So I'm gonna go through, we do have a couple of new ones, and then we have 3 that we would like to adopt. But the first 3 are for our first reading, and the first one is D2, which is just a word changing, which may seem trivial, that we added course and grade advancement. And the context of this is that at our policy meeting in June, we had some parents that were concerned that our policy and our procedure were not sort of matching, or at least the title wasn't, and it wasn't working for them. We told them that we would take this back to the leadership, and my understanding is that it went to the leadership administration over the summer, and they thought that the procedures were working. And that the mismatch maybe have just been the title, that they didn't understand that it wasn't just for grade advancement, it was also for course advancement, and that the procedure works. So what may seem trivial, we just wanted to basically say that that policy does reflect the entirety of it. So I would like to offer that. I would like to have a put forward for a second reading in October. That's the only change, is just the title. Questions?
All right, is there a motion to move this to a second reading in October? I'll make a motion. Gina, thank you.
I'll second.
John, thank you. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of moving the D2 course and grade advancement, et cetera, to second reading in October, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions? All right, that will move forward.
Okay, the second one is C5, which is behavioral threat assessment, and as I understand it, this is something that was put forward by the AOE. And as a requirement, and basically is to take our approach to proactive approach to behavioral threat and management. It doesn't change our discipline or any of our other policies, but it just is it gives us a mandate to have sort of a team to do a proactive approach. So,
Yes,
and so,
it reflects our current practice.
right. And basically, the goal would be to have this adopted by October 1st. We may not make it by then, if it's only gonna be a second read, but anyway, the intention is to have this for a second read for October.
All right, is there a motion to move that forward to a second reading?
So move.
What was that?
No.
Heather, thank you.
Yes.
Heather moved it, and was there a second? Second from Gina. Any questions? All in favor of moving this behavioral threat assessment team forward, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you.
Okay, and the third one, as per first reading, is D8 selection of library materials. And if you remember, we recently did pass a D22 last November, which was an update of our library selection materials, which was went in accordance with the law that was passed last year. There's been an update to it, and part of the law was things that weren't gonna be taken effect till 2025. So this has been updated a bit, and the difference is there is something about the confidentiality of library access, which has been lowered to 12 years of age from 16. And the new policy spells out reasons that you are not permitted to object to removal of, object to, you're not allowed to raise these as reason to remove a book. And so I also wanted to include the access portion that we had in our previous policy. So I combined the two policies. So I'm not just taking their policy. I took the parts of ours that had to do with access and the parts of theirs which had to do with the rules, and I combined them. So that's policy D8 for us. So again, looking for a second read on October.
Is there a motion to move that forward? Selection of library materials?
Could I do discussion?
Yes.
Is either policy required?
They are, but I believe the policy is law, to be honest with you. We're a public institution, and the policy, when it was passed in 2024, was that every library must have this policy in place.
Yes, recently they moved it from recommended to required, and I just want to inquire if the language that's presented has everything from required, and then you're saying it has extra, which is allowable, but we can't take out anything that's required. And I'm sorry, I didn't fully review it. My bad. I just wanted to ask.
So there's nothing taken out from their new one. What we added was, we had several phrases which had to do with access. And in the new one, I mean, you can take a look at the new one that they presented, just sort of vaguely mentioned access. And I thought that our older one had a better delineation of the access. So there's nothing missing from the new one.
Thank you so much, Elliot. I appreciate that
Sure.
clarification. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion, questions? All right, can I have a motion to move it to a second reading?
So moved.
Thank you, John. Second,
I'll second.
thank you, Heather. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, thank you.
Okay, so the next three, I'm just gonna briefly mention that we can hopefully vote together because we have done that all along. And this is for adoption of them. So the C-71 is possession and administration of emergency medications, which is a new policy. We decided that we weren't gonna take away our C-30, which was just about medications in general, even though the recommendation was, this could replace it, but we went through and we said, no, there's good information and they don't contradict each other. So that's one. The other one, C-15, is there were just some minor legal changes, legal language, and the one on cell phone policy, if you remember a few times ago, we had some language we wanted to edit. We did make it broader in scope by saying including but not limited to the technology. And we just want to basically express as a board that we value the policy that has been implemented in terms of the phone. So we're putting that in place. It's obviously already existing, but we're putting it as a policy that supports that. So I guess we can, as we have, I would propose that we have all of these for adoption.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt all three policies?
I'll make a motion to adopt all three policies as presented.
Okay, thank you, John.
I'll second.
Is that Anna?
Mhm.
Yes, okay. Any further questions or discussion that you'd like to comment on before we vote?
I got a question, Carrie. Elliot, the first one on student medication, you said this was the one that we have, but was it changed just a little bit, and which is why we're adopting it, or?
No, so the one that is C-71 specifically deals with emergency medication, but we have one that just talks about, that it has to have, be written by somebody. I mean, it's not about the doesn't cover the emergency part. That's what the new one does. For some reason, they said this is a replacement of it, but it's really not. And they're not in opposition to each other. They complement each other, so.
Okay. So I've just, so if we already have it, we don't need to adopt it? I guess that's my confusion.
Okay, yeah, so the first one, the one that we have, does not really cover the use of emergency medications.
Okay.
It covers things about, that you have to have a prescription for it, that where is it stored, who has it. It's not really about emergencies. When the VSBA said, oh, we have a new policy on medication, they said, oh, this replaces it, but it really doesn't. And I've sent it to a number of people throughout the state to sort of get comments on it, and they all agree there's no reason why it should be replacing it.
So you're adding an additional one rather than replacing?
Yes,
Got
and they're not different numbers and everything, yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right, will somebody make a motion to move, to adopt these three? We already do that?
We did.
Okay, all right. I guess we're ready to vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, we've moved
Thank
it
you.
forward. All right, we took a lot of votes tonight, I think. Buildings and Grounds Committee, Katie.
All right, we met 2 weeks ago, and hot off the presses at that meeting, we had an amendment to our agenda to discuss the waistline issue at the high school, middle school, which Joe alluded to earlier. The committee heard that the cast iron pipe that runs from the kitchen, it's in concrete and then out the building, it failed. So Joe was in there, trying to get rid of a blockage. There's some sediment buildup. He was trying to break it through. Turns out we can't unblock it. And not only can we not unblock it, but there's really no pipe anymore. It's kind of just gone on the bottom. Joe mentioned that he had some pictures. I think that's worth sharing. If Joe, are you still there?
Yeah.
I hate to put you on the spot, but I'll keep talking even while you kind of pull them up because I think it is important to have it on the record and have everybody see these. While he's looking for that, we did discuss what next steps would be and options, and it does sound like he did find some basic pricing. We're still working on that. This is only 2-week-old information. We also reviewed some summer projects, noting that there was a $16,000 cost overrun at Killington Elementary for one of their summer projects. And then the drama with the Woodstock Elementary School elevator continues. The steel that is used for the elevator came back at about double the original estimate. So trying to figure out how to cover the additional cost for that, because that's not something we can postpone anymore. It needs to be fixed to stay in compliance. We also discussed projects that may need to be deferred to kind of compensate for these overages that we had. And then we also reviewed some policy questions around pets on campus and faculty presence during breaks. And Joe, do you want to talk everybody through what we're seeing here?
Sure, it's not a great picture here, but you can see it kind of looks like a tunnel there. But what I want to point out is right to the bottom where Jim's arrow is. Those are actually pieces of stone. The pipe no longer exists, and that's actual subsurface material that's now poking through the pipe. So I think we might have a couple more. Here's a great shot to demonstrate the issues that we're having here. So that's a 4-inch waste line. On your right is a hose that we had used to try to clear some of that. But what I want to point out again is to your left there, that lump that's coming out, that's a separate drain that's coming into this waste line. That's all calcified material. That's 70 years of iron and calcium and mineral buildup that's slowly but surely blocking the pipe. If you look just ahead a little bit, that's the actual pipe itself that leads out of the building. And you can see again, that's a 4-inch pipe that's now choked down to about 2 to 2.5 inches. So periodically, probably once a quarter, we get blockage in these areas. And they're generally soft blockages, meaning paper or stuff like that. We were able to clear them out. My intent was to go in and try to remove some of this material so we wouldn't have to encounter shutting down bathrooms or kitchens. And when we went in there, we couldn't do anything. The pipes are so fragile, so dated, we would do more harm than good. So you can see, here's a great shot. You can see the bottom of the pipe is completely gone. And now we're starting to undermine the pipe. It's actually going underneath it. That's soil that's beneath the pipe. And you can still see where it continues and it's semi-solid going down the line a little bit. So.
Is it going into groundwater?
It's going into the ground. It's underneath the building. A majority of it is going out the building. But again, here's a great shot of the pipe. You can see water. It's exiting the building and again choked off to 2/3 of the way. Only 1/3 of the pipe is now open.
So we had some people in the public comments, like when we were talking about the new build and the bond, that come in and say, well, you just didn't maintain your building. If you just maintained your building, you wouldn't need a new one. So how would we have maintained a 75-year-old iron pipe? Like, is there anything we could have done?
You don't, and it's getting old, people saying that it has to do with maintenance or preventive maintenance, or at the end of the day, it's pretty straightforward. It's a 70-year-old building at the end of its lifespan. Building systems are meant to last 30 or 40 years. We're well beyond that. And hats off to the folks that worked in this building before I did. They kept it up and running. It's really quite simple. We're at the end of the line here, folks.
And it's 550 people using that system every single day. You know, there's one thing about your own house, but you don't have 450 adolescents flushing every day.
In your own house, if you have a building as old as this, the brass fittings in your water system have all deteriorated and failed. You've replaced them with copper. It's part of maintaining a building. And I don't care if it's a house or a public building, they have to be upgraded and maintained. That's what what needs to be done here now. It's not lack of maintenance, it's 70 years of use that's worn out.
And I just want to
So-
chime in, the reason we found it was because we were properly maintaining it. It was, you know, a service provider was in there helping us unclog things and troubleshoot, and that's how we found the problem.
So in terms of replacing it, what does that look like in terms of disruption to the use of the cafeteria or the school?
We certainly wouldn't be able to do it while school's in session. I'm in the process now of trying to find a contractor who would be able to do this for us and under a short timeline. I'm thinking next summer. Not quite sure. I'm speaking to everyone who will lend me an ear to try to figure out the best way of approaching this project, whether it be horizontal boring underneath the school, laying new pipe, or just cutting open the floor and trying to find a different way to connect just the kitchen to our lift stations to get it out. The other question is how far do you go? My point of view is we can lose the bathroom, we can't lose the kitchen. Do I continue so when I say this whole school is like this, the whole school is like this. We encountered this problem, it's probably about 5 years ago on the day of graduation where I had the same issue. But underneath the senior solarium here, we lost the 2 bathrooms during graduation. Folks were unable to use for the same reasons, pipes were clogged, choked down, calcification. Again, not due to maintenance, just old.
It has the rating as the second worst school building in the state.
Correct. That's where we came out, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
first
we're
one's
at
over
90.
there.
I think something that folks, I'm not sure if they're aware of, but the state of Vermont will not invest in a building that has greater than 60% depreciation. We're up above 90% depreciation. They will not give us a dime to rehab this building.
What is that quoted from? What are you referencing? Or is that?
That was the 2022 audit that the state did on all of the state audited all school buildings in the state. And they indicated that anything greater than 60% depreciation will not be renovated.
So is this replacement out to the curb or?
Oh, it's in underneath, it's in the building.
There's
In
no,
the
but the
extent of it.
Yes.
Under the building to the lift station, probably in the back. Or maybe to the lift station in the front, depending on, you know, what solution works.
Yeah, I do know that at some point underneath that building, we transitioned from this cast iron pipe to an asbestos pipe, which generally doesn't have the same issues because it's asbestos and there's not that mineralization. I can tell you, once we exit the building, we have clay pipe. And it's clay pipe until we reach our lift station and then you push it out to the street.
So how are we using the kitchen with this thing still clogged?
It's not clogged.
It's now,
What happens is periodically, I found every 90 to 120 days, we encounter a clog. And it would back up into the kitchen and back up into the bathrooms. This summer, I decided to take the initiative and see if we can't clear some of that calcified materials. So we sent in basically an auger. We made it about 2 feet and I was just like, stop, because you can see the pipes were knocking pieces of pipe off. We sent in almost like a hole saw. Folks know what a hole saw is. It's a slow moving. Again, pipes are so fragile. We were just doing damage. We stopped. We tried water jetting it, didn't even touch it. We're just at that point where it needs to be replaced.
but it was clogged and it's no longer clogged.
No longer.
Well, how did we get it through if it wasn't jetted, it wasn't
We'll keep
augered?
blasting out that third of the pipe that's still open.
Like I said, majority of the clogs are soft clogs, so we're able to get through with high powered water and jet it out. Someday if, I don't know, something else happens to make down there and it's solid and I'm not able to get it out, then it will be an issue. Or again, some of that pipe happens to just collapse on itself and into the hole. Well, there's not much I can do about that. The other point I want to make out too is that material, that whether it be a piece of pipe or a rock, if it actually makes it out into one of our lift stations, and we suck that up, we'll will break the lift station. It works by impellers. We actually suck material up with an impeller. I have a brand new $450,000 lift station there on the roof floor. I'd hate to lose that.
Any other comments? Well, it's a big problem. I can see that. All right, thank you, Katie. Thank you, Joe. Negotiations, hiring and retention committee update.
No.
Yeah, I think we're just waiting for final reading from the support staff side.
Support staff, that's good.
And working groups. Communications, do you have anything? Not at the moment, okay, and
Just acknowledgement for all the hard work your group has been doing and getting us out there. Really appreciate it.
thanks. Yes, very much indeed.
Yes, great.
Thank you. The regional hub build working group has some things for us to discuss.
Couple of things. First, at the last meeting in August, we issued a call for members. With the idea that we would appoint a new regional hub working group. Thanks to the good work of Gina and the communications committee, that got a lot of good publicity. We had some nice incoming requests. I've emailed you a recommended slate of folks, 12 folks to appoint, initial appointments. There would be 4 open positions that we would fill at a later date when those applications come in. But, the goal was to have 1 community member from each of the surrounding towns. 2 community members from Woodstock, sort of consistent with the numbers on the board. The board chair, up to 5 board members, a couple of teachers from this system and a student. Right now, we have representatives, we have a number of applicants from Woodstock, Barnard, Pittsfield, Pomfret, teachers, student, thank you, Lila. And board members who have requested, and then there's a number of folks who have said, hey, we're energized by the approach, we'd love to participate, we don't want to be named official kind of voting members, but we would like to work behind the scenes. And so they have reached out and gotten engaged and are participating in different ways. So I have a slate of folks that are in front of you to recommend to appoint. That's up for consideration. Happy to read through that if you'd like, but did everybody receive the document?
Yes. Looks like people have.
Is there a motion to consider the slate that I recommended? Would you like me to share that on the screen?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Can someone who has access?
I will too.
But I think again, the purpose of this was really to drive an inclusive process. And to make sure we had a voice and representation from every town participating. And then we brought, folks that actually had special expertise around. Yes?
You would have to join the meeting via.
Sure, yeah, I'll share.
You can share, cause I can't go to my email with this. Ooh.
Makes sense.
Meanwhile, Anna has a question or a comment.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just wondering if there's plans to communicate this out via like the front porch forum. I was expecting it to go out through the Reading front porch forum, just so that our whole citizen group was aware of it. Gina and I brought it to the select board. And if that's not on the plan list of communications, if you could let me know and I will post in the front porch forum, either something that was shared in another town, or I can write up my own if there's not a template available.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to you on that. We've had a little bit of problem getting onto that particular front porch forum, not others. So we're trying to figure out what's going on there. We've had, 6 different stories break that we haven't been able to get onto the front porch forum in Reading. So without further ado, I'd love it if you'd help me figure it out.
yeah, let me know what I can do to support. I've got a school board account for Front Porch Forum for Reading, so let me know. We can connect and figure that out.
Will do, because we're gonna have more news after tonight.
You don't say. Thanks, Gina.
You bet.
Bob?
Yeah, I would respectfully request that my name be taken off the list. I was on the new build committee, and I'm certainly happy to contribute as needed. But I think for this working group, there's far too many people, in my opinion. So I'll probably be joining some meetings, but won't be an official member of the committee.
Okay,
And
I just took you off.
and you can put me on for Reading.
I think you were, so we have board members listed as,
Separate.
Gina, Josh, Seth, and Carrie
Okay,
right now,
good,
with one
great.
TBD. There's one opening now. Bob, you were put on because you were nominated by the other Bob, who said the only,
Well, codes.
I got the Bob, I got bobbed.
The Bob's a representative. And so the bold are the ones, individuals that you are
Suggesting.
suggest.
How many board members do you want?
Up to 5.
I mean, I'm happy to do it, but then you can have 2 people from Plymouth. But,
Yeah, I think that's okay.
We don't currently have a Plymouth representative.
no,
So,
but that's what I'm saying, but, well, Josh is.
I mean, Josh, sorry, Josh would be, yeah.
So, if you don't want, it's up to you.
It would be helpful if the folks in the towns that right now don't have a community person on there, but would maybe suggest some names or talk to some folks in your towns, that would be very helpful. That would include Bridgewater, Killington, Plymouth board member, and a Reading. Not a board member, but a citizen and a Reading as well. And we thought it would be perhaps nice to have a high school teacher, so I don't know, Sherry, if you wanna send it out to them, or Aaron could do that.
Does that say Ryan background?
Ryan's in the school.
Oh.
Paid for middle school.
So if you could see if there's a high school person or a hybrid. Okay, all right, are we ready to vote? No further discussion?
And so this vote would be to appoint the people in bold, knowing that more names are to come.
Yes. Hopefully wrap it up in October.
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor of the appointments, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Sarit, you had a question?
I think she was voting.
Oh, okay, she's
No,
voting,
I
sorry.
voted yes. I voted yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Seth, and I know this.
I have 2 more quick updates. One, just flagging for everybody, the state of Vermont announced its rollout of the state aid program for school construction. The Department of Education gave a presentation a couple of weeks ago, building off the legislation from Act 73. It says that schools will be eligible for a minimum of, under the new program, which is set to begin in July of next year, a minimum of 20% of construction costs. And there will be additional bonus incentives and emergency aid up to an additional 30%. So it appears, that there could be substantial state aid. Now, there's a lot to do to make this program happen. The legislature, and the governor have both indicated they plan to fund it, but they need to do that. And that needs to happen this session. I think my opinion on this, which is shared by the folks who have been participating in the working group, is that we want to be first in line, if we can, for those funds. And so that speaks to the urgency, not only that Joe and Jim are expressing tonight, and Katie from the Buildings and Grounds Report, but you know, I think it's incumbent upon us to articulate how we fit within the new redistricting plan, how we can serve as a model regional hub, and how our capital plan is aligned with Act 73. I think we're well positioned to continue our leadership and be a good partner to the state. And so, you know, just flagging that, which could make a difference in a presentation to the community. That's number one.
Can I just add
Yep.
one thing to that, Seth? I sent out to the board members a forward from Elizabeth Burrows, who's a school board member in Windsor, Southeast, and is also a representative representing, her community. And we are all invited, our board, their board, and Hartford School Board are invited to a joint meeting to discuss potential merges and or how we would see ourselves and position ourselves and that type of thing. It will be held at the Heartland Library, but it's also available through Zoom, so I've sent that to you all, and I know quite a few board members had already responded with interest, because I saw the names on the email, but if I would hope that a lot of you would be able to attend one way or another. And I don't think I can drive at that time, but if anyone wants to drive me to Heartland, if they'd like to attend.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that someone should drive Carrie.
And I'll be that.
Yes, yes, there I'm not in charge, so I can actually talk a lot. So that's happening, and I think that Sherry is gonna be presenting at one of the task force at the end of the month. And Gina and I are planning to go to that meeting, and we would consider making a public comment, and we can, if you have thoughts on that, any board members have thoughts as to what we might say. I'm happy to have you send some thoughts our way, because we do have the opportunity, and the public comments are being taken down and written, and they're published on the AOE website. So that goes along with Seth's next right plan.
Yeah, so the third thing is, we've been discussing, and I think we discussed it at the last meeting, the urgent need for the legislature to decouple capital debt with the education spending formula. As you all know, or may not know, it's holding us, not only us back, but every district in the state from making needed capital improvements. There was an article this week about Champlain, and it's needing to advance some significant capital expenditures. So this was an idea that came out of a brainstorm with Sherry, who is in regular conversations with districts around the state, that we all call in the legislature to convene a special session this fall to pass emergency legislation decoupling capital construction debt from per pupil spending. We drafted a letter, and that is, Sherry's received a lot of positive feedback from districts that are experiencing, they're in the same shoes that we are, which is every one of them. And you know, I think the consideration for the board tonight is to take a look at that letter, and do we vote to pass it? And do we vote to sign it? And to join this burgeoning coalition to call on the legislature to help us not be penalized for taking care of our buildings. Yes, ma'am.
I just had a little suggestion as to the people being addressed to.
Oh, yeah.
Could you make special note to get all three of our senators named specifically and our one representative in the two list,
Yes.
please?
I think we're calling on the leadership. I mean, here's the thing. I think we're calling on, this is a discussion. I mean, I think we're calling on the leadership of the Senate and the House. and the governor, the three legislative leaders, really, the three branches to take it up. And I think this would be something that, yeah, we should, every district that signs it should send to their individual representative.
But these guys are sitting on this.
Yeah, and so every time a district signs on, we should add CC to their local members. Would that address your concern?
No, because I want the names of those 3 senators and 1 representative on this letter.
I see. Sure,
Okay,
I don't have an issue with that.
well, especially since one of them voted against our resolution the last time. We'll just leave it there.
Who shall not be named? Corinne,
Yeah, just to comment on that, maybe the signees, whoever they are, representatives should be CC'd. But I guess my question was about, are you aware of, so my understanding looking at this is that it's a template that then other districts could also take and to their boards and hopefully have their boards, vote to approve it in the same way. Is that right? And are you aware of other districts that are looking at bringing this to their boards to to sign on to it yet? Or is this just the very beginning of that process, or am I misunderstanding?
No, it was a great question, and I defer that to Sherry, really. I think we would be one of the first, if not the first, to sign it. I think there's interest from dozens. But they are just beginning to meet. So it was just fortuitous, that we were, early in the situation. Is that accurate, Sherry?
Right, so I shared it with members of the Vermont Superintendent's Association trustees, and there were individuals there willing to sign and written to their board. We have an all members meeting on Thursday. I'm on the agenda to present this letter and offer it to other superintendents to bring to their boards if they too want to pursue this.
And that's on a Tuesday next week?
It's this Thursday.
So, look, one of the things, I think, Corinne, I'm just gonna guess at some of the things behind this. I don't think we want this to be a MVSU initiative, right? We want to be part of a coalition because we're as strong as our numbers are. And so, one strategy that this board could pursue is to say, hey, how do we feel about this? Let's get our changes in tonight. Let's get set up to sign. Let's see how the meeting with Sherry goes, and then let's pile on when there's more of a coalition. Or, I think we become the first and just sign it and give everybody else, nobody in government wants to go first. Everybody wants to go fifth. So, but I'm just arguing both sides.
Sure. Yeah, and I don't have an issue with being the first at all. I just sort of was trying to get a sense of the timeline because, yeah, it seems like, and I don't know when boards have their meetings, but the sooner the better, obviously. But depending on meeting schedules, um, I'm just wondering if there's a goal in terms of like, we feel like this will be strongest if we have, X number
I
of
think
districts
we
or something signing on.
Yeah, I think we want to say at least a dozen or a dozen districts, or, I think that's the headline, a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen, that's where we want to be. Whether we can get there, I don't know.
Down the line.
Yeah, I mean, it might be till early
It might be
October
a series.
before those districts are having their meetings to sign it, and maybe maybe that's okay to send it at that point, but maybe that feels late.
It could create momentum too.
Yeah.
A drum roll.
Yeah.
Tina, one thing that you should know is we're planning on putting a press release out tomorrow that has to do with this precise decision tonight. And the comparison, to this move, would be the announcement we made on BOSIS. And we took the position that being first is highly successful. And darned if we didn't have 3 major outlets pick that up, and in addition, the Standard and the Mountain Times. So with one fell swoop, the fact that our superintendent has worked for 5 years, and when she signed that thing, she became the founding member of not only BOSIS, but that particular cooperative. So it was a double hit. And I gotta tell you, education reporters like Allison Novak took note. And the story that she wrote ended with one of the people on the restructuring task force literally saying he was all ears because he was willing to think about other ways of formulating districts that would possibly take into account the excellence of a district like ours. It's a powerful, powerful message. And what we want to do tomorrow is get a release out as soon as possible. I mean, it's gonna have to circulate around to people like Sherry and the communications folks and everything, but we think that just casting our hat into the ring as the first district to do something like this, and then use that to make other districts aware that they can sign, means we may actually be making more than one announcement. And remember, we're driving towards September the 29th, when Sherry's gonna be presenting the whole concept of BOSIS in front of the entire state redistricting task force. So I just thought I'd throw that on the table.
All right, thank you, Gina. Bob? You're on mute, Bob.
I think Anna had her hand up first.
Okay. Go ahead, Anna.
Thanks, Bob. I would have been happy to pass off to you. I'm wondering if it'd be helpful for our board members to give us a rundown about what the benefits are of separating capital investment funds from the Gen Ed fund.
Well, we don't pay 2x for capital. Right now, this is, and if I'm gonna defer this to Matt, why am I answering this? Jeez.
Yeah, so previously, this was not part of the budget. So you could raise a bond across your towns that are in your district to build new school buildings. And then when the state would calculate our per pupil spending, it was on our annual operating budget. And so any repayments made to take out bonds didn't count against that per pupil spending, and therefore didn't put us into things like the penalty phase and the threshold. So you had an incentive, you know, to get cheap bond financing from your towns and fix your buildings. But with the way they made it part of your actual, like the repayment of those bonds now gets included in our education expense, which therefore gets included in our per pupil calculation, which therefore triggers the penalty phase, and our taxpayers in our communities, you know, would have to give $2 for every extra dollar that we spent in penalty. So we were all, when this happened, I mean, everyone on the board at the time was like horrified because it was such a huge disincentive to borrow money and fix your school buildings. And Sherry thought that it was a complete mistake, but learned that maybe it wasn't, because they didn't want people building new buildings right before passing legislation that would change our, you know, our school districts. So does that answer it, on?
Yes, so it's more for the general understanding. I feel like I've been in enough, so I appreciate you putting words. So just for everybody's take-home message, if we were to build a new building, that currently would go against our cost per pupil, which is held against us when we reach penalty phase. So if we were to fund a new building currently, it would not only would be paying that X amount of dollars, we'd actually be paying fees on top of that, because we've now further dug ourselves into that penalty phase with rebuilding costs. Thanks, Matt.
Bob?
Yeah, is the plan here to vote in favor of sending this letter and then sending this letter, or is the plan to wait until you know, a dozen other districts get a chance to read this letter and agree to send it like all en masse. I think the latter will not work if we're trying to get them to do an emergency session. Am I missing something here?
No, I think the goal is, if I'm correct, that we would vote to sign it tonight as Mountain View Supervisory Union. And then start pushing it out to other boards and superintendents to bring to their boards. And to get a response.
But send it to the governor,
Yes.
send it to the legislature as soon as it's signed.
I think so, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's a rolling thunder, right? Every time a new district signs on, there'd be a message sent.
I agree. I mean, if we're gonna wait until, I think we should send it. If we're gonna vote on it, send it immediately, tomorrow.
Certainly. Any further comments or questions? Oh, Anna.
Not that this would be my inclination, but I just wonder if there's space to hold off for this meeting on Thursday, if that would provide any benefit. I'm seeing a no shake from Sherry. If there would be any feedback from Thursday that would help us either garner more support, or if that's a moot point and there's nothing to be learned on Thursday.
2 weeks out.
It won't be a point of discussion, it will be an opportunity, and I'll share the letter. What I feel, especially after the presentation we showed earlier, we have an amazing story to tell that brings huge responsibility. We have the ear of the Agency of Education, we have the ear of the legislature, we're being invited to offer, but we're working. That brings responsibility, and I think this letter is evidence of the responsibility of taking the lead in something that's really important, and that does impact students. So that's how I read this. We're doing well, our students are amazing, and we now have a new responsibility to take a lead on those things that are holding us and other districts back.
Absolutely.
And the only thing that I would, my 2 cents for whatever, you know, in case you care. I think the people she presents to on Thursday are gonna be much more likely to sign if somebody else has already done it.
Yeah, and I was just commenting, I was gonna add on top of the fuel of not only is our students doing well, and our building is way past 60% beyond its livable space, and the emergency need with what we saw tonight with the pipes, and we've know this has been an ongoing issue, that I feel like we're checking all the box to just go ahead and move forward. And I'll go ahead and make the motion, if that's okay, to sign and send this letter.
I second it.
Okay, seconded by Bob. Any further discussion? All in favor of signing this letter, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? All right, thank you, everybody, for doing that, and we'll get some traction going. Seth, did you have anything else?
Our next meeting will be on the Monday, the 22nd. We're gonna try to, I'll reach out to the appointed folks, but that is the planned day. And that's all, because I lost my notes. There's too many tabs open.
It's dangerous.
All right, thank you. Are there any other working group updates? All right, our next job is to approve the minutes from August 4th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
There a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? All right, thank you. We don't have any resignations, so we now do have a public comment. If there's any public comment, you're welcome to make a comment now. All right, so at this point, we're going to have to make a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of a contract discussion.
Thank you all, thank you, Myla.
Thank you to all the folks who came.
It works.
All right, we need them
I'll make a motion to enter executive session.
for a second.
Second.
So we all vote aye to come out?
Yes, we need to vote. Okay, great. So, we need a motion to. I can't, what's the word again?
I'll make a motion to add a 0.5 admin position to the current special educator position 7 through 12.
And I will second.
A seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor of moving this to a 0.5 administrative position, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I'm gonna
All right.
abstain.
What was that, Josh?
I'm gonna abstain from this vote.
Abstain? Okay. All right. All right, then I think the last thing we have to do before we exit is any reflection on what we did well and what could we do better.
That's kind of bad.
Well, I think we did well tonight, we got through a lot of things, appreciated the presentations. And I think we also had constructive and helpful discussions as well. That's my reflection. Would anyone like to validate that? No, never mind. Are we ready to adjourn? Yes, I sense that we are. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Seth did that one,
Sorry.
and who seconded it?
I'll second it.
Gina seconded it. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Anyone abstaining? The ayes have it. Thank you all very much.
Good
We
night.
got a lot of things to do in the next month.